All right, so before I get started on this Abyss Lord God EdForReal style, I just want to take a moment to give a shout out to Andre. He is the person that requested this video. So if you want to participate, please just leave a comment. Say thank you, Andre. If you find any information I'm about to give useful in this video, just drop a comment, let them know, say hey, thank you. And I do want to just say I appreciate everyone that comes by and drop comments, ask me questions, ask for things to see or something. I definitely appreciate the interaction. I try to respond to everybody. Sometimes I might miss a message here or there, but I try to go back and respond, or I try to provide the information if I can, or even make a video if there's something you want to see. I try to definitely get back with you all and just show my appreciation for you coming by and giving your time and just hanging out with me. I do appreciate that. And here we go. We about to get started on this. So what I'm showing here on this image, I just want to show where my damage was about. This was probably around March, early March. So I was doing about 3.4 million, and even about a month ago, still the same thing. I was still around the same area, 3.4, maybe good perks, maybe 3.7, somewhere up in there, maybe. But so this is where my damage was at before I made a few changes. So I just wanted to show the receipts on where I was. Okay, so this is my last Abyss run where I did the actual video. I ended at 4.4. So even before this one, the last week, I was at 4.2 million. So since I've made some changes, I'm pretty much staying over 4 million. So that's roughly anywhere from a 500 to 600k increase on my damage since I've made a few changes. So just once again, just showing some receipts, showing you where I was to where I am now, and we'll go ahead and go over that information here. Okay, so from here, there's some basic information I'm going to cover. There's pretty much 3 little areas. I'm going to go over stats, runes, and then my pet rotation. I'll just kind of go over that, and then I'll do one little quick damage run breakdown, and we'll end it there. So let me first start with the stats here. Okay, so of course you want to have your attack high as you can get it. That's no brainer. Have your attack high as you can get it. Now far as what I would recommend for the heavy and charge, anytime anyone asks me about heavy and charge, I'm always going to tell you 1500 heavy. That's the first thing you want, because that 1500 will give you that 50% activation rate, that heavy rate. So anything above 50% is kind of diminishing returns, because you don't really see it. Either went off or it didn't. It takes so much to get out of the 50s that it's ridiculous. It's not even like if 1500 to give you 50%, but if you go up to like 22 or 2500, that's only like maybe 60%. That doesn't add up the numbers. That 1500 is 50%, but like 2500 is 60%. That don't add up at all. So anything above 1500 is diminishing returns. Is not even worth it. That's why I would always recommend 1500 and then put the rest into charge. And so the advantage of having the charge attack is you get the true damage reduction, and you also get bonus damage when you're in that charge state there, in a charge burst. So you're getting a lot from the charge attack. It's really helping to round your account far as the bonus damage. And I'm sure true damage has some effect on it, because the boss has defense. Like when you increase your penetration, you see the difference in damage. So I don't know how much damage defense the boss has, but yeah, that the true damage, I would imagine, has some effect on that. I would think so. But definitely the bonus damage comes in, comes into play. So once again, 1500 heavy, the rest in the charge, however much you can. Okay, and the crit, don't seem like you need a whole lot past 100. I mean, of course, getting up to 100 is not easy early on, but you definitely want above 100% crit rate to really make sure that you're getting a good amount of the crit activation. So you definitely want to be, I mean, it don't look like you need a whole lot past 100 for it to be consistently going off. So you at least 100, over 100 is preferred. And then from that, you're one of your most, I would say, most impactful modifiers is gonna be your crit damage. I mean, what the one that's the most impactful is penetration. Of course, we already know that's everywhere. Penetration is your highest damage multiplier. You want penetration high as you can get it. That's no brainer. You need that everywhere. Bonus damage, mine is only 43 or 41, but it's 43 when I have my abyss build on, or maybe it's 41, whatever. But charge attack helps with the bonus damage. So having a decent amount of charge attack is going to increase your bonus damage during the fight. So that I'm not too worried about the 41. It's lower than a lot of people might like, but yeah, once you're I have 1400 charge, so that boosts my bonus damage up while we're fighting. And then of course, like I said, crit damage, yeah, with my abyss build is at 67%. That, like before, when I was at 50%, that's when I was doing the 3.4 million runs, when I had the 50% crit damage here. But once I put a Alethea in and bumped that up to 67%, instantly seeing an increase in my crit, in my like damage. I mean, it instantly went up with having that extra crit damage. So I would say that when it comes to the Abyss Lord, crit damage is just as important as penetration when it comes to Abyss Lord. I mean, those are, of course, you want your attack as high as you can get it, but you want your penetration as high as you can get it, and you want your crit damage, of course, your crit rate, because you want to be able to activate, but you want your crit damage, you want your crit damage up there as high as you can get it. I mean, you will instantly see an increase in your output getting that crit damage up there. Debuff, I don't think debuff really matters. I don't really have much of it. I don't see any effect that is showing that debuff is really needed against Abyss Lord. I don't really see any major impact on it. I don't know, maybe I'm not sure. I don't really see him, like when I put my Blizzard on him, I'm not seeing him like affected by debuff or slowed or anything. So I'm like, it's only a few things that are going to put a debuff on him. So I'm not really sure if there's any benefit like that to debuff damage. I know, of course, your attack, your crit damage, and your penetration, those bonus counts, but the two major modifiers are penetration and crit damage. Of course, you gotta, you need your crit rate up there to make sure that you're doing the crit damage. But the two major modifiers that I see from my perspective, penetration, crit damage. Okay, so there's that. All right, so now let's go over to the runes. Okay, so on my runes here, most people have different, it's seen all type of flavors on here. With the people on the P attack characters, I've seen them not have the fancy dentist. I've seen some with dentist, some without dentist. I don't, of course, depends on what your account, your goals are for your account. For me, I'm using Snow Princess always for the, for the attack, for the int percentage. I would imagine for P attack, you need strength, strength and attack, but strength would be your highest damage modifier for your attack would be strength, because you can have so many ways of getting strength. But I've seen some people just have Naga in there, but that's of course all your preference. But me, I would recommend Dennis if you're, of course, Snow Princess if you're M attack, Dennis if you're P attack for that, the strength percentage. That's what I would recommend. Now for legend, I'll get into the other runes in a moment here, but for legendary runes, you want Valkyrie. Shinobi does not proc on Abyss Lord. It does not proc. You want Valkyrie. Valkyrie, and if you only, let's say if you don't have the third slot open for some reason, right? Say you don't have that open. If you only can use 2 legendary runes, I would go with Valkyrie and Gilgamesh, because Gilgamesh procs on Abyss Lord as well. So those would be my 2 legendary rune recommendations. I will go with Valkyrie and I will go with Gilgamesh. That's that. Okay, now outside of your Dennis or whatever attack rune you want to go with there, You got to have the Alice in there for the penetration. That's mandatory. No questions asked. You got to have that in there. Now, when you get down to this part, where for me, my second damage rune, you could go Dracula or Naga depending on your account. For me, I went with Naga because I want more just base attack. I have charge attack to help with the bonus damage, so I went with Naga and not Dracula. I'm like, I got a Dracula in my Supreme, but here I just went with the base attack. There's that. I went with one Leafia for the crit damage. That one Leafia, that 17% crit damage made a huge difference in my output. I mean, huge. You don't, 17%. That's a okay amount. That's okay. It made a huge impact on my damage output because I'm critting almost every hit. So that extra 17%, huge difference, massive. I'm telling you, you want to increase your crit damage much as you can. I mean, that is it's just as important as penetration when it comes to this Abyss Lord. So there's that. Okay, of course, serious, you got to have your crit rate on there. You need crit damage, you got to have your crit rate in there. So those are like the staples. Those are like the main things that you got to have in there. Alice, yeah, I would definitely recommend Alethea if you can for that crit. You want that crit damage. Of course, you want crit damage on your Sparamon, but you want to have that Alethea in there, at least one if you can. You need that crit damage. That will tremendously change your damage output. Okay, and then you see, I didn't even go with Ocean. I mean, like when it comes to the Abyss Lord, I mean, yeah, he does damage to you, but he's not trying to really kill you until he transforms. Once he transforms, then he's trying to get you out of there. But so when he's just in a regular form, I just went with Bat to get some health back. Well, of course, I had the Sirius there for the crit rate, but I just went with Bat to get some health back while I'm fighting him. So I'm not too worried about. I mean, I only had like 27% damage reduction, so not too worried about that. It's just when he gets to that end part, he's trying to kill you then. Okay, all right. Supreme, just more of the same, just stuff I already talked about. You need to have, your penetration. I got one down there for some bonus damage, a little bit of that. But okay, that's pretty much it on the runes. Okay, so my pets. All right, so for my pets, I went with Devil instead of Samurai. So the reason I went with Devil instead of Samurai is because Devil, I have the page 3 unlocked where he puts a mark on the enemy, and that works on Abyss Lord. So when you put that mark on the Abyss Lord, you're getting free damage. You're doing your normal rotation, doing your normal attacks. You're getting free ticks of damage whenever that ability go off. So I mean, it can't go wrong with that. It's win-win. Who don't like free damage? Free damage, there it is. like when you use Samurai, you have that long cooldown. You might get to use it again at the end if you use Samurai when you first get in there, but it's kind of like you're putting yourself in his range to do damage. That's if you're not a melee character. So it's kind of like you swinging, but he can also hit you. So with range, you can kind of kite him down that corridor. But okay, so I'll get into a we'll talk about that when I do my run here. So in Fairy Dragon, so the reason I'm using Fairy Dragon is to extend actually pause the time of my Aegis. Fairy Dragon is the only pet when you activate your Aegis and then you switch to Fairy Dragon, you don't lose time in your Aegis while you're in Fairy Dragon. Fairy Dragon is the only pet that does that. So I go in there, I get some skills off, I switch to Fairy Dragon, and then by the time he knocks me out of Fairy Dragon, I still have all my skills, cooled down, and I'm ready to get another round of damage in my Aegis. So it kind of helps me get like another round of my full skills with my Aegis instead of getting like 2 to 3, I'm getting like 3 and maybe a few more hits in there because I'm using Fairy Dragon to extend the life of my Aegis. So there's that. All right, so now we'll go ahead and do a kind of just talk through one of my pet rotation runs. Okay, so getting into one of my rotations here. So the way I start my run is I come in and I start with Devil. So as soon as I hit him with Devil, I pop my Aegis and I go through my first set of skills. So we'll go ahead and show that here. Will not fall through the floor. Okay, so I get there, hit him with my devil, I pop my aegis, and I immediately go through my first rotation of my skills. So once that happens, normally I give him a moment, then I switch over to Feeny, hit him with the Feeny. I try to get off one more rotation of my skills before I switch to Fairy Dragon, because I try to get 2 rotations of my skills in, switch to Fairy Dragon to try to preserve some of my Aegis time. So while I'm doing my Fairy Dragon attacks, you know, my Aegis is not, you know, the cooldown on my skills are happening. My Aegis is there, everything is ready to go. So as soon as he knocks me out, boom, they're right back to damage, right back to a damage. And so now I've gotten 3 rotations of damage in my Aegis. So I might get a couple more attacks in here before it goes away. So I'm getting like 3 plus rotation, attacks, 3 plus rotations of attacks in my Aegis by using Fairy Dragon to extend that. So then I got another round of my Devil going on. So you're seeing the Devil skill popping off while I'm attacking them. So that's just free damage. I mean, who don't love free damage? So as you notice, I waited for him to switch into the big, his final form before I pop my Feeny again. So that's also an important way to kind of preserve your life a little bit, try to extend your run some, is to try to save that Feeny, that second Feeny, for when he transforms. And then if you're a ranged character, you can kind of just kite him down this hallway a little bit here to get more damage off before your time is up. So now that 700 was with some modifiers. So normally my run is about 600 something K a run, but that is my rotation that you see right there. Devil, pop my Aegis, one round of skills, switch to Feeny, try to get one more round of skills, switch to Fairy Dragon, preserve my Aegis, try to get all my Fairy Dragon attacks off. Then once he knocks me out of Fairy Dragon, I get one more round of skills and maybe a couple more attacks in, and then it's just getting all the damage I can before he kills me or time runs out. That's pretty much it. That's my run. So hopefully this might be a rotation that you might look at trying out to see what the numbers look like for you. Like I was saying, the most important changes I made to my account were increasing my crit damage and adding more attack, because I did switch out another rune, like I had remove one of my defense runes to have another attack rune in there. So that whole kind of conversion of adding more attack and mainly increasing my crit damage. I mean, increasing my crit damage stupidly increased my damage output. I'm trying to tell you, if you want to make sure that you getting all the damage you can get, have your crit rate and your crit damage in there with that penetration. It will change your life. And also I don't know what pet rotation you're having there, but if you see my rotation, it works out pretty good for me. I mean, that's pretty much it. Just wanted to give you some basic information on it. I won't drag this on. Just leave a comment if you do find any of this information useful. Just say thank you, Andre, if you like anything here, and thank you for watching.